Not being in a relationship in high school or in middle school does not mean that you will never find someone. So I know all the time people are like, oh my goodness, like I'm in high school and I just, everyone else has a boyfriend or everyone else has a girlfriend and why don't I? Like that's a big deal, Like you're supposed to go to these dances with people and you're supposed to, be all lovey at the football games and walk around and yeah, no, that's okay. And sometimes I honestly think that waiting a little longer is sometimes the better option. So don't be discouraged. So my first point with this is be patient. And we're going to look at Ecclesiastes for this. And we're going to go to Ecclesiastes 7:8. And this just simply says that it's better in the end of a thing than it is at the beginning. And the patient in the spirit is better than a proud spirit. So patient spirit is better than a proud spirit. So if you're, looking at a relationship and you're going into it with the idea that this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is what everyone thinks, and this is what I'm supposed to look like because that's what you're supposed to do in high school, then you might not be starting off your relationship in the right place. Okay? So that's my number one. Number two, and I don't know if this applies to any of you, but it is okay to be single forever. God does not call everyone to marriage. It's the truth. He doesn't call everyone to marriage. He doesn't call everyone to have kids. We all have our gifts, and that may be singleness for you. And I know there are some people that I'm very close with that are single and know that they'll be single for the rest of their lives. And they have been able to help so many more people and go and do so many more things because of that. If it wasn't for Jay right now, I would not be where I'm standing. I would still be in Papua New Guinea. But because of my fiance, I'm where I am. My one friend that I was telling you about, she's single, and she is in Papua New Guinea because she doesn't have anyone. I'm not saying that he's the reason I'm not there, but I'm saying that putting another person into your life and giving them half of your life and half of your heart is a lot of responsibility on both of you guys' part. So regardless of what you decide, just be careful with that. My third point is something that I think that we don't think about as young kids, and this is probably super awkward for you too, I'm so sorry. I saw you guys come up and I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, anyway, but my third point I think is the most important point, and it needs to be work on yourself before you work on getting into a relationship. So number one, if you're not right with God, you're not going to be able to be right with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. If you don't have the intentions of, if you don't have the actions of what God calls us to be as a wife or as a husband. See guys, whenever you go into a dating relationship, I think a lot of people go into it thinking as dating. And I don't like to say courting because we don't necessarily use that word, but you want to go into that relationship with, I want to make this work. I want to make it work. I want to see us prosper. I want to use your gifts and use my gifts and glorify God with them together. Okay? You can't go into a relationship and say, oh, what can I get out of this? Because right away, that's where everything crumbles. You're going to get so many fights. You're going to get so many frustrations. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple of different Bible verses that says working on yourself before you work on getting into a relationship. So girls, we're going to go to Proverbs 31. I don't know if you guys know this verse or not. It's 10 through 31. So in Papua New Guinea, while I was struggling deciding whether or not I was going to come home or what I was going to do when I got home, this is a verses that really, really stuck to me. And I started memorizing them, just constantly trying to put them back into my head. And this is my godly wife goals. I even have it written in my Bible. Okay, so 10 says, an excellent wife who can find. She's far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like ships of a merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night, which I will never do, and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold to the spindle. She opens her hand to the poor, and reaches out her hand to the needy. She is not afraid of snow, for all of her household is clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchant. And these are my last favorite. So this is 25 through 31. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. And her children rise up and call her blessed, and her husband also, he praises her. Many women have done exceedingly, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. Okay, so I know we only have 6 girls in here, but I could probably teach at least 2 or 3 months on these couple verses. Like, this is a lot of stuff in here. It covers how we handle money. It covers how we work with our hands, how we handle our children, how we deal with our relationships with our husband, what our goals are to have a godly relationship and our relationship with God, what we should strive to be, what we should wear, what we should be empowered. It even talks in here about how we should invest our money. Not just spend it, but how to invest it. Just like we are called to invest the lives in others. And I think that that's also put in here too, because we're supposed to invest in the lives of our spouse or of our boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay? So that's one. And then we're going to go to Ephesians 5:21 to 25. And this is also for the girls. All right? Submitting to one another out of the reverence of Christ. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and himself the Savior. Now the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their husbands. Okay, so I don't want you guys to take this completely literal, because there are multiple circumstances where this can be taken out of text. And gentlemen, please don't ever put a woman in this circumstance. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? This is something that you really need to take seriously, because men, I will be the first one to tell you that I still did and still do look to the man to lead me in the relationship. Whether it be physically, emotionally, whatever. Okay? Spiritually. And it is really, and I know that is a huge weight on your shoulders. That is something that I can't even fathom. Like, we're called to love and to care for and to just help, right? Us women, that's what we're called to do. We're called to help the men, to help the children, to help them grow, to feed them, to make sure that they're taken care of. Men, you have the hardest duty I could imagine. You have to make sure that the right decisions are made. You're supposed to be the head of the household. You're supposed to, that just blows my mind. But ladies, you need to realize, and Jay and I just had this discussion the other night, you need to realize that if you and your husband are in a disagreement, and unless you can honestly say that his answer is wrong, you need to respect your boyfriend or your husband. You need to respect them and show them that they are the head of your relationship. Because that is showing them that you care for them and you do respect them. Okay, and we're gonna get down to that a little more, and it'll make a little more sense, okay? And then one more for the girls, and then we'll go to the guys. Titus 2:4 and 5. And so train young women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled, pure, working at home, kind, and submissive to their own husbands. Isn't that exactly what I just said? Like, over and over in the Bible, you don't hear the woman saying, you need to take charge, no. That is, you need to support. You need to respect, you need to love, and you need to be there for the men. And I know, like, in this day and age, that's not so much what women are to be looked at as. We're supposed to empower ourselves and be our own best leader. And I completely agree with that. I love my self-independence, and I love how freely I am. But I also love knowing that I can pick the phone up at any time and call Jay and say, hey, I have a problem, what do you think? And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to agree with him because he thought it out longer, and he just has that, you know, the guys are waffles, girls are spaghetti. Did you ever hear that? No. Okay. This is a really good topic, okay? And this is something that I'm just going to throw in here quick. So, guys are waffles. Their brains are like waffles, okay? I know you guys are all laughing at me, but it will make sense. They take each little square, so they have all these different things in their mind, and they put them in these little squares, okay? And they go through square at a time, one by one, checking them off, okay? They look at the task ahead and say, okay, I need to do this. Done. I need to do this. Okay, done. That's how guys are. Girls are spaghetti. Yeah, I saw it. Girls are spaghetti. They are all over the place. Like, right now, I can be thinking about 15 different things. Like, you guys are probably thinking about 10 different things right now. That's just how we are. And the guys are just like, that's interesting. Okay, anyway, but I want you to understand, like, that's why God gave us man and woman. Because us girls, well, sometimes the guys will be like, oh, I think this is the right decision. And you'll be like, honey, really, no, you need to think about this, and this, and this. And he's like, what? Wow, that makes so much sense. And then, like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I have to do this. He's like, calm. What do you need to do? This. Calm. What's the first thing you need to do? Okay, and he'll help me through it. Because that's how God made us. We have to balance each other out, okay? We have to. You can't both be waffles and you're like, oh, ladies, I am totally the waffle, and sometimes you are the waffle, and sometimes the guys are spaghetti. That's just how it is. But 9 times out of 10, there's a waffle and a spaghetti, not 2 waffles. Okay? All right. So boys, now for you guys, we're gonna go to Titus 2:6. Likewise, urge the younger men to be self-controlled. Okay, I know it's a simple verse. There's a lot in there. How many of you guys like to skateboard or motocross or do all sorts of crazy stuff like that? Oh, there's only 3 of you in here that don't like to ride 4-wheelers or anything like that? Okay. Okay, you need to be self-controlled. Just like you're, or maybe you're on the football field and you get like super hyped and someone really ticks you off and you're like, oh, watch this, I'm going to cheap shot them now. No, you got to be self-controlled, okay? Like, you have to be self-controlled. And women are going to follow you. They are going to, like little lost puppy dogs, follow you into whatever direction you go, especially if they really like you. Because they are their job is to support you and to follow you. And trust me, they will. This is a big responsibility, guys, and I hate to say it like that, but it is. So you really need to be careful on how you lead them. You really need to be careful on the way that you lead them and on the path that you take with them from the very beginning. Okay? All right. Now we're going to look at Ephesians 5:25-31. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in its splendor, without spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife also loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ cherishes the church, because we are members of his body. So this is really, really jam-packed, okay? So, boys, I'm going to tell you right now, girls love to be loved. And that sounds super stupid, but we'll get into this in a couple minutes more. Girls love the stupid little stuff. Like, I am a total redneck girl. Like, skin deer all my life. Like, smell trapping lures for fun, see which one smells best. Like, you name it, I've probably done it, okay? Do I still like flowers to surprisingly pop up? Yeah. And I'm the one who smells trapping lures, okay? So there's a big difference there, all right? So you need to love on your girls, okay? And I'm not saying love on them, like make out with them. I know you guys are all like, love your girls. Oh, I can do that, right? No. Like, I'm saying love them. Show respect to them. Hold their hand. Sit there and listen to them ramble in their spaghetti splendor, okay? Like, you have this woman who is willing and opening their heart to you and wanting to be a part of your life. And that's a big deal. And for us girls, I can promise you, Jay and I's relationship was the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I have a lot of stuff going on in my life, or have had a lot of stuff going on in my life, okay? I've had uncles in rehab try to kill themselves. I've had alcoholic dads. You name it, okay? Jay and I's relationship was the scariest thing I've ever done, okay? And it still is. Like, there are nights where I just, break down, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, I am trusting another guy to stay with me till the end of time. Do I think he will do that, and do I believe he will do that? Yes. But it's still scary, and I'm sure it's scary for you guys. Like, I don't know, you guys are all tough and stuff, but I'm sure there are times where it's like, oh my goodness, I have this responsibility. I have this weight on my shoulders. I need to lead her in the right direction. And that can be rough. But the best part about it is we have our guidebook right with us at all times, okay? This verse that I just read you, I could probably do a month's worth of lessons on it, okay? There are so many different times where I've come to one verse, and then 6-8 months later, I go to the exact same verse, and something completely different pops out of me. Has that ever happened to you? And that's because God, in different moments in our lives, shows us what we need at that point. And sometimes he doesn't show us anything, and that's the scariest time of all, but that's whenever he's trusting you. And he's saying, okay, I prepared you, now you go. Okay? So, we're gonna flip this up. So, has anyone heard of the crazy cycle? No? Okay. Alright, so we're going to talk to you about the crazy cycle. It's kind of like the waffle and spaghetti thing, okay? We're going to go to Ephesians 5:33. However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. So in one verse, the wife is to respect her husband, and the husband is to love his wife. Okay? So, say we have, I was going to pick two of you to come up here, but I won't embarrass you. Say we have Sally and Joe. Say Joe forgot to wash the car like he said he would, and Sally's been stewing on it for 3 weeks, which happens with us ladies. It's stupid, I know, but it happens, okay? She's been stewing at it for 3 weeks, and finally she's just had enough. She's just frustrated, and she decides that she's gonna give him the cold shoulder whenever he has a bad day. Is she respecting him? No. So then what's gonna happen? Is he gonna love her if she's not respecting him? No. And then is she gonna not respect him whenever he's not loving her? No. Do you see this problem? Okay. So, and it can be stubbornness. I am stubborn to the core, and Jay has to reel me in sometimes, okay? You need to, women, respect the men. Even though they do stupid things, and they might, jump off a cliff into Raystown, and they might, go ice skating on ice that's paper thin, but want to try their luck. That's stuff that they do. But you need to respect them. And that goes for every man. That goes, and this goes way beyond relationships, guys. You need to respect every man. You need to, I hate how we don't say sir anymore. If there is a gentleman in front of you and you don't know his name and you want to confront him, say sir, respect him. Show him that you have God in you. He may not realize that sir means that you have God in you, but it means to you that you do respect him. And that was something that God taught you. And men, hold the doors for ladies. Say yes ma'am, no ma'am, thank you. Stupidest stuff. I get so tickled pink whenever Jay opens my door. I think it's the funniest and cutest thing ever. And we've been dating for 3.5 years. It's the stupid little stuff like that. It's the stupid little stuff that just shows me these little bits and pieces of love that I just bend over backwards and completely, seriously. Okay, boys, I saw that. That's not what I meant. But, seriously, it makes me excited. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel loved. Okay, so, with 2 more points. How are we doing on time?
5
minutes. Okay, so, relationships are give and take. And this is something that I really want, if you guys take anything from tonight, please take this. Relationships are a give and take. Just like the crazy cycle, someone has to give at some point to break it. And guess what? At one point or another, you're going to take something from your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Whether it be their first kiss, whether it be their, first dance, stupid, that's more for the girls. But guys, I don't know what us girls would take you from. The first time that you wanted to go hunting and you chose the girl over hunting. No joke, I bet you that's the number one thing that Jay would think of right now, okay? You are giving something up, okay? You are choosing something, all right? It's a give and a take. But remember that when you take, more than likely you can't give it back. You can never go backwards. You can never give back that first kiss. You can never give back that, time where Jay stayed home with me and his dad shot a massive buck, or his uncle, you can't take that back. You can't go backwards. Gentlemen, this is really important. You are leading the relationship. Lead it in the right direction. Do not go fast. Do not jump in, head first. Take it slow, especially if that's the way the girl is. I was scared to death the first time Jay kissed me. And you can ask him. Scared to death. He said I looked like someone had hit me, like a deer in the headlight look after he kissed me. No joke. Scared to death. All right? But he set that tone. He's the one who initiated, and he asked. He asked. You don't take anything without asking. You don't force anything that isn't meant to happen or they don't want to happen. Don't put the ladies in that position. Because the sad truth is, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna do it for you. Why? Because they love you and they want to respect you. Because they think that if they do it this once or they, show you this love, that maybe then, maybe only this one time, and he'll realize, we can have a talk after it and it'll be all good. Boys, you're not like that. You guys are wired completely different. Once one thing happens, you're going to want it to keep happening. It's how it works, and it's sad, but it's true. So don't take a step that you're not prepared to continue in, and that you don't want to make the girl continue in either. You can't go backwards. It's like saying, it's like saying that you're drunk, but you're going to stop drinking right now because you want to get sober again. Well, yeah, you're going to get sober eventually, but it's going to take you a heck of a long time to get there. Okay? All right, now, we're going to go to 2 verses in the Bible that says about never going backwards quick. Then I'll open it up to any questions, which you guys are probably like, she's annoying, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, so 2 Kings 20:10 is what we're going to look at. And this is Hezekiah and Isaiah talking. And Isaiah is asking Hezekiah, shall a shadow go forward 10 steps and then go back 10 steps? And Hezekiah answered, it is easy thing for the shadow to lengthen 10 steps. Rather let the shadow go back 10 steps. Okay, so just like a shadow, you can't make it go backwards. You can't undo it. God doesn't give us a rewind button. It'd be really cool if he did. I'd love to see what things would play out with that. Maybe on a screen though, because I wouldn't change anything in my life because I am where I am today. Regrets, but they made me who I am, and I'm proud of it. All right, Jeremiah 7:24. But they did not obey or incline their ear, but walked in their own counsels and the stubbornness of their evil hearts, and they went backwards, not forwards. So how many of you guys or girls here in the locker room or at the lunch table, oh my goodness, you would not believe what happened last night. He's just so amazing. And then they go on. Or the guys are like, dude, you would not guess what I was able to do last night. Can you believe it? And then they go on. See, it happens. You guys are laughing. It's the truth. It's what happens in high school. But you can't go backwards. Don't be stupid. Don't let the guy, push you to where that's at. Or guys, don't put your women in that situation. That is the hardest thing to change. I will say it over and over again. You can't go backwards. And this doesn't just involve physically. This is emotionally, this is spiritually, this is in fights. Oh my gosh, fights, guys. Choose your words. Women, choose your words. Don't go that spaghetti route and bring out the 50 things that you put away and save for that later date, because you're like, oh, that really bugged me. We're just going to tuck it away in here, I can pull that out for Ammo later. Don't. Burn it. If it's not that important to talk about right now, burn it, because obviously it's not worth it. And men, just watch your words. And if you can't, walk away. I know that people say never go to bed angry, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying that's wrong at all. But if you can't calmly and rationally talk to your boyfriend or girlfriend, then you should not talk at all. Because you're only going to make things worse. Okay? You're not going to solve anything. You're not going to fix anything. You're only going to make it harder for both of you to get on the same page again. And it's going to happen. You're going to have fights. You're going to have arguments. You're going to get mad. And the guy's going to be like, oh my goodness, what does it matter if I left the ketchup and I stuck it on the second shelf in the refrigerator instead of the third shelf in the refrigerator? What's it matter? It's in the refrigerator. At least I didn't leave it on the counter. And the woman's going to be like, oh my goodness, but don't you see it? Nothing lines up right. And then this doesn't fit here. And it's stupid. And you're going to fight about it. I promise you will fight about something like that. Promise you. If you ever get married, it'll happen. Or get in a long-term relationship, okay? So guys, choose your battles wisely. Choose your actions wisely. Make sure, gentlemen, that you're leading in the right direction, and women, that you are following them and guiding them in the right direction. See, sometimes the spaghetti is good, ladies, because we can be going on the path and following, our boyfriend or our girlfriend or whatever, and then we can spaghetti and be like, oh my goodness, I see roadblocks up here, I see issues, but look, this can go around it. And what do you do then? You don't say, oh honey, let's go. No, you don't do that. You don't pull them. Say, honey, can we stop for a minute? Let's talk. I wanna lay this out to you and see what you think, and then we'll think on it for a little bit, and then whatever you think is best, then that's what we'll go with. But I wanna lay this out. I wanna lay this idea out. And then if you don't have a woman that's like that, if you don't have a woman that respects you, and doesn't have a woman that cares about you and will follow you, then it's not worth it. You can change a woman, but you can only change them so much. You can change a man, but you can only change them so much. You cannot change a man from A to Z. You can probably change a man from A to C. And same goes with women. I used to be a spitfire, and I still am at times, which you guys can probably see in this. But Jay has taken me from the A to the C, and whenever we fight, half the time I don't even say a word now, because I know I'm a spitfire, and if I start something, I'm gonna try and pull out all that stuff that I tried to burn. He's like, yep, I know what you're talking about, okay? But that's all you can do. You can't take them from A to Z. You can't change someone. So if there are problems in the beginning, it's only gonna get worse in the end. I promise you. Because you're seeing the best of them in that beginning. You are seeing the best part of them, the part that they want you to see, the part that they always, show off, the part that, I'm the this and I'm the that and, all this good stuff. You see the best part. You're not going to see them whenever they get fired from work and they don't know what they're going to do anymore. Or you don't see them whenever they hit a deer and are unable to find it and look for 3 days and still can't find it. Like, you're not going to see... Dude, why do you keep laughing? Okay, anyway. But you're not going to see that. You're not going to see the mad or the sad. You're going to see the happy and the good and the fun. So if it's bad now, it's not going to get any better. Unless God does some awesome things. And He can. And one last thing. Please don't get in a relationship with a non-believer. Please. Please, please, please. My mom, God loved her. I love her dearly. Got in a relationship with a non-believer. I didn't really come to God until about a couple months before I met Jay. I met Jay in Sunday school. Matt was our teacher. That was the first time I ever saw him. Okay? I was in high school. I had to get to the point to where I could drive myself to church because I wasn't allowed to go. Okay? Don't do that. 20 years she prayed and she loved and she tried to change him. It didn't happen. You know what happened? He kicked us out, okay? And then we ended up finding a place to live by God's grace, and he ended up getting another girlfriend, maybe not even 2 years later. Was with her for maybe 3 or 4 months. She was a Christian. He became a Christian, and he ended up she put a PFA on him, and you know what happened? She put the PFA on him, didn't talk to him again, and he hit rock bottom. My mom was with him for 20 years, but that, 3 or 4 month or 6 or 8 month thing, that's what he needed to hit rock bottom. Okay? All right.